Okay, everybody, here we are in Kingston, and look at that, I was wrong. There is no Kingston Depot anymore. This is the site of the depot. According to Russ Bonds, this depot, which stood on this site, was the largest depot between Atlanta and Chattanooga. It was incredibly important and very large. And I'm going to show you a map that has a kind of a, let me come over here so I can set it down. Again, if I had an assistant, this would be easier. So this is kind of a cool little map of the town of Kingston during the raid. Okay, you can see it. There's the depot right there, okay? And check out all of these sidings and rails around it. I mean, there were, there's the main line, but then there's all kinds of sidings all around it. Here's this main street right here, Railroad Street, which would be across over there, which is really cool. Right now, I'm gonna try to walk over there in a minute. But so there would have been a depot right here next to the existing main line, right? But then this area where I'm standing, which is now just kind of a really pretty green park area with it looks like probably a military monument over there. This is where I'm assuming all of the other sidings were. So by siding, I mean the place where other locomotives could pull over on the side while waiting for other trains coming north or south on the line, so that, again, they don't have those head-on collisions. And so when Andrews and the general and all the raiders pulled up into Kingston, there was a lot of locomotives waiting. They were kind of back piled up, all waiting to take their turn to move on to different sites. There was an offshoot, I think, on a rail to go towards Rome, another railroad going that way. I think maybe that direction, that way. And so he comes up and he basically has to stop because the road is blocked by all these other locomotives. I know there's the William R. Smith was sitting there. There's a locomotive named the New York, according to this map, that was sitting there. A number of trains. So he and the men, now remember, most of the raiders, the 22 men who made the chase, they were in boxcars just waiting. So he actually had to wait here for an hour. And here we are. They have a marker here. And it says, the Andrews Raiders at Kingston. April 12th, 1862, James J. Andrews with 18 Ohio soldiers. Now this says 18. Pretty sure it's more than that. There were 24 original men and 2 overslept at the Marietta Hotel in Marietta. They were at a different hotel, not our Kennesaw House Hotel, which is where our museum is, where the 22 others spent the night. 2 of them were south of town, not south of town, but on the South Park Square, where the Marietta Hotel, owned by Henry Green Cole, who was a Union spy. I have my own theories about that. That's a whole nother side story we'll get into. But anyways, so let's go back to this. I don't think it's 18. I think this marker's wrong. But it was put here in 1953. And a lot of this was written by one of my favorite historians, Wilbur Kurtz. So I hate to question it. But, okay. With 18 Ohio soldiers, maybe the others were civilians. That's why they're not counting them. In disguise. And 1 civilian, having seized the locomotive general at Big Shanty, intending to wreck the state railroad, were forced to sidetrack here and wait for the southbound freights. After long delay, which I know is an hour, the general continued north. Pursuing from Big Shanty, Captain W.A. Fuller, conductor, Jeff Kane, engineer, and Anthony Murphy, using a pushcar, reached the Etowah, right? We were there, where the engine Yonah brought, remember Cooper's furnace, or Cooper's Iron Mill, brought them to Kingston. Okay, so they took that Yonah here. Pursuit was resumed on the Rome Railroad locomotive, the William R. Smith. So because all these other locomotives were all backed up, first Andrews has to wait an hour for things to clear up. Finally, and during this time, things are getting hot. Townspeople are kind of wondering what in the world's going on. Why is this train here, this ammunition train for the Confederacy here? What's going on? People are coming out of, their homes and businesses wondering what's this hot new little train doing here? And Andrews is, you know, continuing on with his lion, and meanwhile all the other raiders are just you know, waiting in the boxcar. He finally is able to continue on northward, though. He's finally able to make his way out and around these other trains that were waiting. He convinced some trains to move. He actually, you know, kind of like playing Tetris, he moved one to the other, in and out of different sidings, and all over along this area. So finally James Andrews gets out and he takes off back north this way. Okay, not long after, some said within minutes, Fuller comes along from the south on the Yonah, and he gets blocked, of course. And he's figuring out, he's trying to, you know, wave everybody down. He's all excited. He's telling them, you know, that train is not an ammunition train. That train was stolen, blah, blah, blah. And he's got to get around all these trains so that he can chase them, continue the chase. Well, the fastest way to do that was actually to, the way the trains had been rearranged was for him to just, he and his crew to get off of the Yonah and jump on the William R. Smith, okay, which had been heading up towards the Rome Railroad. But they repositioned it and sent it on its way. So they leave the Yonah behind. They're on the W.R. Smith and they head north this way. There's really not much left to this little downtown area, but hey, there's more than Cassville. A little more going on, but this is the coolest little strip. You know, I've had this moment while I've been here of deja vu, and I really feel like when I was a kid, I think my mom might have brought me up here. She used to go to these antique auctions all the time, and right there is an antique shop, but I feel like it was in this building. And look at that, it says the DeSoto Hotel. I mean, I've got to look up the history. Right now it looks like it's abandoned. I mean, there's windows knocked out. Obviously nobody's staying there anymore. There's another cool building over there with a door. There's just some cool old buildings that have yet to be rehabbed or you know, changed up. So I bet there's some great original architectural details and maybe even furniture, who knows what inside there. Again, another day, another time, maybe I could go peek my head in some of those windows. But yeah, so here's Kingston, which was a very important site for the chase because it halted Andrews for over an hour. He had to sit here and wait, and that gave Fuller time to catch up. And so Fuller's hot on the trail. Now, just a little north of here, it says, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so, okay. Andrews, therefore, boy, that's close. I apologize for this camera work here today, y'all. Andrews therefore ordered a second halt about 6 miles north of Kingston, and the raiders went back to work. Again, they found themselves hamstrung by their lack of equipment. Lifting a rail seems easy enough, but it was far from easy in practice, Pittenger wrote. The rail is long and heavy. It is securely bolted to other rails and fastened with great spikes driven into solid oak ties, which in turn are deeply embedded in the ground. So they go and they work hard. They were about to give up and take out some more spikes when they heard the sound, faintly but unmistakably, of a whistle of a locomotive from the south. Ooh, okay. This put a new face on things. We lifted again, and with every particle of strength as men lift for life, Pittenger said, the strong rail bent under the terrible pressure and snapped with a dull twang. The raiders climbed back in the boxcar with their broken piece of rail, and the general was quickly underway again. For the time we were saved, Pittenger believed. All right, so they've torn up the track. Let's see how Mr. Fuller, Captain Fuller's gonna do getting around that track. And the next stop is Adairsville. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in my car and head that way. I hope you guys are having fun with this as I am. I'm exploring some new parts of Georgia that I've never been before, or maybe I have, and I just don't remember. So comment on all the videos if you like, with questions or your own thoughts, or if I've been inaccurate in any way. That's won't be the first time. So I hope to see you guys in Adairsville. Thanks. Bye.